Welcome back to the 2 Months Podcast presented by Pete's Concrete. I am your host, Joshua Marshall, and we are back for NHL playoff predictions. The Stanley Cup Finals starts on Saturday, and we're going to get the guys going here and their predictions. And we got a few that were sent in to us, so we'll read those too. Will McNeil, he sent his in. Dustin
No
Canal.
shit, eh?
Yeah, I asked him. I said, "What's your pick?" So, and then Dustin didn't want to do his because obviously he's got a very close situation of someone he's friends with. So I think anyone can.
Oh, fucking Canal. Get off the fence.
Yeah. So, but anyways, let's get to our guys. We got the round table. We got Brody McIntyre. Let's get to the closer first. How's it going, closer?
It's going great, buddy. Friday, got a little glass of red wine going here, a little Rioja Tinto.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got a little glass of vino going. It's Friday. It's almost the weekend. Life's pretty good. Playoffs start tomorrow. I got Oilers tickets for game 2,
Nice.
which was originally supposed to be on Thursday when I was out of town. I woke up this morning, looked at Twitter. It said Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's a great day.
I think you even
Things
put it
are
in the
looking
group
up.
chat. Yeah, but I think you put in the group chat you're going Wednesday anyway, so maybe
I
they're.
am going. Well, I thought it was going to be. I thought it was originally Thursday, right? And then I was going to be out of town, and so it's working out really. Everything's coming up, Brody, right now.
There you go. coming up the closer. And the other voice you hear is Clay Vanderham. Vandy, how's it going?
Vandy is dandy. I attended the Southside Athletic Club banquet last night. They were honoring a friend and a kid I used to coach who tragically passed away earlier this year, and it was good seeing everybody. And Justin Penner, who coached the St. Albert U17 AAA provincial champs.
No big deal.
Caught up with him, yeah, right. It was good. It was a good day and a good week. Week's done, and let's head into the weekend.
There you go. You got that right. So,
how are you, Bosco?
Yeah, you know what? Brody was a part of this podcast before this episode with Mind Buffs with Alex and Matt from Mind Buffs, and I had a long chat with Alex, who's a close friend. I've known her probably about 14 years now. And she started that company with Matt, and they've been growing and growing ever since. And they came on our podcast, and so I was just kind of doing some research, and then boom, I was like, Mind Boss, I can get some counseling here. So I got my first session set up for next weekend, and
bingo.
So it's positive step yesterday, and healing and getting, and then I found a new church too, the Saint Church, and a friend of the pod and Phil Stockley kind of knows Brett. They went to Bible college together. Recommended him and my friend Marissa too. So 2 good things there. And you know what? You get one shot in life, right? So make the freaking most of it. So and grab the throat and don't turn back. So you get
Matty D from Mind Buffs.
You used to coach him, right?
We coached him 1 year, Trev and I.
Yeah.
1 year.
I think Tell me about him as a player.
One of those kids that just the puck followed him.
Interesting.
It just always ended up on his stick.
Yeah. And at the right time too, probably.
Yeah, and he could. I think he was a good skater. That was fucking 20 years ago, dude. I think it was Bantam when we had him, maybe.
Yeah, he did talk about that when he was on with us. So
yeah. Good kid, good family, yeah.
Yeah,
and obviously got a successful career. So
yeah,
that's weird. Good kid, good family. Now he's doing good things. Weird how that works. So.
Exactly. Right, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
Yeah, so that's good, and definitely recommend MindBus to anyone. Check them out at mindbus.com. Set up an appointment. They got endless amounts of team members there that can help you guys out. So definitely check them out, and you'll be very satisfied in what you get in return. And I know I'm going to be when I start my first session next Saturday. So that's good there. So other than that, no off work here, dealing with some stuff, and we're definitely moving forward. Stanley Cup Finals, staying positive as best, and staying engaged, and obviously a bittersweet situation. Obviously, we've had a couple friends of the pod play for the Arizona/Phoenix Coyotes, and Gilbert Brule, obviously Vernon Fiddler, a couple others, they leave, they go to Utah. We'll get into that before we get into some playoff talk, but Vandy, before we hit record, you said you listened to the press conference. Your thoughts?
I did. I mean, I turned NHL Network on when I got home, and it was Utah owner, or the owner and his wife and Gary, and then they had the governor and all that. listen, this guy, I want to have a beer with this guy. There's a reason. Like,
Ryan
he's
Smith,
got
yeah.
some charisma to him, and there's like he's just you can just see he's just straight sales. Like he can. I was ready to buy season tickets. I don't even live in Utah. Like this guy is selling everything. He's like, we're gonna build this, that, the other thing. I don't know how we're gonna get 100,000 square feet or whatever it is in downtown Salt Lake City, but the everybody made it happen. No, it's a 180 from
What,
what they had.
yes.
And I mean, obviously, look at the Utah Jazz and what he's done with them, and it's he to me, you just look at him without him saying, and he may have come out and said it, but he is the prototypical owner that knows shit about shit, but hires the right people.
Yeah.
And you can just tell. I imagine his wife is probably the
Wait, his wife
ringleader, but
Ashley, yeah.
he's the voice, and you can just tell he's you surround yourself with good people and good things happen.
Yeah.
And he's got but the charisma was one that I was taken back. Like kept whispering in Bettman's ear and like
What was he wearing?
Like I don't know.
Not a too much podcast hoodie, but maybe one day.
No,
right?
but maybe one day, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just like a I don't know, like a smoker's jacket, not like a suit or anything.
No,
But
I
the
saw
funny
him on
Go ahead.
TSN or Sportsnet. He was in a hoodie.
Yeah.
Right. Talking
Yeah.
away. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're on TSN for your first interview and you're wearing a goddamn hoodie.
It wasn't, yeah, like it wasn't anything extravagant. His wife looked good.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, and like it was funny because they would pan, like the governor would be talking or whoever it was, and then they'd pan over and he'd be whispering in Gary's ear. You don't see that.
No.
Like you think like owners, you think Daryl Cates is doing that. Daryl Cates is just sitting there like, whatever. But
yeah,
it was just, I mean, and he had Bettman smiling, and yeah, it was. I mean, it's obviously a jovial occasion for everybody, but he was. It's going to be interesting. He's gonna do good things up there, I think.
Yeah, he will. Brody, your thoughts on the whole situation and the excitement going to Utah?
Well, the excitement's pretty cool. Seems like an absolute beauty. I actually Googled him, and whatever he invented and started and sold, and I don't remember the name of the company, started something 2017.
Spa.
According to Wikipedia.
It's like an online accounts payable, receivable kind of thing.
Okay. And
or
sold
SAP.
it,
Sorry, it's SAP. I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. And sold it a year later for like billions of dollars.
Fucking
like overnight billionaire. Like, oh my God, so he goes from a dude to a billionaire in a year.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's still a dude.
He's just a dude, man.
Yeah. It was funny
I
because
don't even think he knows he's a billionaire yet. He's just when you listen to him and see him, you're like, I want to go over. Yeah, I want to go on a golf trip with that guy.
Yeah.
Right, and he probably would. He seems like he's that type of guy.
Yeah, I was watching.
I think the only hesitation would be the size of the market. Personally, just 1 million people there, right? But guess we'll find out.
Yeah, Noodles was saying within the area, if you kind of get everyone to come in, which is like a 45-minute drive, it can get up to 2.7 million.
Okay.
He used to play there back in the day. Noodles, our buddy Jamie Noodles McLennan, and so he was saying like, yes, it is that small what you would think, but if you get anyone from outside, which is a half an hour to 45-minute drive, you're quickly up to like 2.7 million. So it's still
a big difference.
And they don't drink in Utah, so they're fucking.
Well, that was the thing too, is like Pat McAfee's show. Like, they FaceTimed him this morning, and he's like, they're Mormons there. So he keeps doing, like, he's been on his show several times, and I don't know if you guys saw it today. They obviously had Biz on, and it was quite funny. Like Pat was showing a different way to hook up with a lady, I guess, and how they do it there. But yeah,
it's called soaking.
Yeah, well, that's what Army.
That's unbelievable. Have you heard of this, boss? Or either of you heard of this?
I heard it because like they were talking about it today on the show. Because Army, Kobe Armstrong said that they should be called the Utah Soakers or whatever.
Come on.
Is it called soaking? Is that what you
know what this is, Vandy?
No, I do not know.
The greatest thing I've ever seen or heard in my life. So, because they're Mormon, they can't have sex. So they pay a guy. So Deanna and I are dating. but we can't have sex because we're Mormon. So we pay you $100, and I put penis in vagina, but I don't move. So we're not having sex. It just happens to be a penis in a vagina, and you rattle around the bed and shake it up and down and do stuff. You're the soaker.
Fuck off.
So the penis is in the vagina soaking, but we pay you to.
This is so Friday Night Podcast. What the fuck?
So that's what it is, which is unbelievable. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, they were talking about it on Pat show today. So it was quite funny. I can't do the imitate.
So hang on, they'll pay like an outside guy to do that?
Yep, they'll pay like their buddy to come over and just rattle the bed for 30 minutes while they soak.
Come on. Okay, I'm googling this. Jesus.
And they close the bars down at 1, right? So at 1.
Well, here's the other thing. So because BYU, the big university there, they can't play on Sundays. So does that mean Utah
might not?
Oh, I wonder.
Yeah. Let's see if.
Hey, you know what though? My wife went to school at Idaho State, and so they traveled to Salt Lake City, and she says it's an absolutely beautiful town.
It's I've heard that.
Beautiful there.
Yeah, Trevor.
And what if Frank Zaravelli said it is the 4th fastest? I'm sorry if you guys hear an echo. I don't know why it's echoing.
Oh no, I don't.
But it's it's the 4th fastest growing metropolis in the United States.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Phoenix is probably number 1 though. Just saying.
Probably,
yeah. No, it's interesting because obviously friend of the pod and Trevor Lewis, LA King player. He's from there, so now he gets the chance to maybe play in his hometown for the first time.
Cool.
Obviously, he's towards the end of his career here, but he had a pretty good year for the Kings. So maybe they'll sign him there because he's a hometown boy, or maybe he'll go back to LA. He still.
Oh, you know what? Here, sorry, this is one thing that caught my attention. A reporter asked him, basically out of context. The reporter said, "Is everybody safe?" Meaning like Bill Armstrong and is it Bill Armstrong?
Yeah, the GM.
And the coaches and whatnot. And he said, look, when we bought this team, we bought the people. Yeah. And the people ain't going anywhere. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm moving to Utah. I want to scout.
Yeah, that's
like give me right.
Well, I talked to Tyson.
This is a guy that gets it, man.
Yeah, I was talking to Tyson Nash this morning when I woke up and just sent him a message. He sent one back and something short, but yeah, obviously he's a broadcaster for the Coyotes, so I'm hoping that he goes over there too. And Todd Walsh, like that was very emotional to see those the final sends off, but hopefully that they all go.
They'll be back. I mean, Bettman said it today. They'll be back.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust that owner in
Alex Morello,
Arizona, though, man. I don't know.
This is the part 2 of it. Yeah.
And if you're gonna have to build this arena in 4 years, 5 years? Is that what the window is?
It's 5 years pretty much from.
Yeah, I think it's 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
So if he builds the arena, he 100% gets a new team or no?
Pretty well. The way
I think he gets first dibs.
Yeah, well, he's for 5 years. So obviously the big date is June 27th. The auction. It's a live auction. It's public. So that's the first hurdle. So if he wins that auction, he could be the only one that shows up, or there could be 16 other people that show up. But if he wins that auction, then that's the first step. Then he has 30 days after that to put in the money to the NHL, and then boom, the rest is history on them building a construction, right? So he comes out bigger and better than what the deal was, because he bought the team for $300 million and he walks away with $1 billion. So,
and then he gets to buy a team back for $1 billion.
Yes.
And in between, if somebody buys it, and they just sold the last one, his own, for 1.3 or 1.2, whatever.
Yeah.
If this Morello's smart, he's going to Shibia, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, and going, come on, let's get something together going here.
Yeah, 1,000%. So we'll see. How
I didn't like him in the interview though at all.
No,
the one question, obviously, Spit and Chicklets posted on their account is the season ticket holders that have paid up for a couple of years here. When are they getting their money back? And he looked like, I needed more time. He looked pretty stressed out, right? So
it's just
he's got $1 billion. He can afford to pay them up.
100%.
Yeah, but That's why he has $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
'Cause
right.
he ain't paying that shit.
Well, Biz was on Pat's show today, and he said he was holding this for a bit, but he wasn't paying hotel bills, right? So they were arguing with like hotel bills. So
Now that
I know Uppy was
is a sticky process. That's like
because Biz said it, but Uppy was saying different on his podcast.
yeah, there's like I don't know how it fucking works, but like there's different, like they bill in certain times and month end fiscal years and all that shit come into play. But yeah, it's
Kate's was like that. Remember the one year, right?
100%.
That was a rumor about the Oilers.
Yeah, it was so yeah, there must be more to it that we don't know, and we'll never know, right? So but yeah, obviously a tough situation, but thinking of the people that don't get to go with the team, but
correct. I mean, you think of, and if you listen to Tyson Nash on Chicklets and Scotty Upshall talking, and you think of the like gate, the ticket takers, the attendance and all that.
Yeah,
concessions.
Concessions, that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know if they'll be all that because they still have the ASU program in there. It's not like the building's getting abandoned, right? Yeah. But still, nevertheless, it sucks for everybody involved.
Yeah, it does for sure. So, all right, so let's transition over to the National Hockey League playoffs as they start on Saturday when this podcast gets released. So everything's all final and set. It was right down to the last game last night.
Jesus, LA, what the? It's like Vegas and LA didn't want. They obviously don't want. Either of them want to play the fucking Oilers.
No, it was like it was same thing over out east with like no one really wanting to. Either play the Tampa Bay Lightning, I guess you could say, or whatnot. But obviously, Florida and Boston or whatever. Boston seemed to get the good old tank job going in the last couple of games of the year. But anyways, let's start out east because that's where everything will start for us. But we'll get it. We'll do our predictions for the first round, and then we'll go right into the conference final, and then our Stanley Cup picks. So that's kind of what we'll do. So obviously the first one tomorrow, Carolina Hurricanes, the New York Islanders. I don't know how interesting this will be or not interesting it will be.
Boring.
Yeah, it could. There's a huge chance it could not be a lot of excitement in this series. But Vandy, who do you have going first in this series? Who you got coming out of this one?
Well, I obviously Carolina. I mean, they're just. You don't see them a lot, but you just and they're kind of the unforgotten. They're a lot like the team in the West, Dallas, where they're just kind of a forgotten.
Yes, it's a great analogy. Them in Dallas,
nobody really pays attention to them. They got no superstar. I mean, they got Aho and like Burns but their back end is incredible, and Anderson's been just solid for them, and that's all he needs to be.
Coming back from his blood clot, right?
Right. So it's I mean, I got Carolina winning that series. I don't know. I would say, because the Islanders got Sorokin, or I would say they win it in 6, maybe 7.
Well, Villar,
maybe 7.
Did I say Sorokin?
Yeah, well, he's their starter, but Varlamov finished the season out.
Yeah.
So see if there's any kind of special, I don't know, tricks or head games or whatever is going on in that aspect with the fact that
was Varlamov with Colorado
when they won their cup. No, Darcy Kemper. So
no, but did Varlamov ever play in Colorado?
He did play. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was with Colorado. Yeah, for quite a few years, and then
they're probably kicking them. So anyway, we'll talk about that after.
Yeah. How about this though? Interesting. Corey Schwab from Saskatchewan. Goaltender of the goaltending coach for the Arizona Coyotes, now Utah. Darcy Kemper was a goaltender with the Coyotes, won a Stanley Cup. Aiden Hill with the was also with the Arizona Coyotes, won a cup, and then look at the year that Connor Ingram had for the Arizona Coyotes. So he is the goalie whisperer as goalie coaches go. So you'll be going over there. So something.
John Burke used to be that. Maybe it's just about living in Phoenix and life's good and golfing and stuff.
It very, very well could be. It very well could be. Yeah, you're definitely.
Where did that name come from? Is he with the Islanders?
No, Schwab, but I was just saying, like, just talking about the goalie theme real
Oh,
quick.
guy, yeah, okay,
It was just on my head there. I was just thinking, what a phenomenal goaltending coach he is. So interesting, and just the fact that Connor Ingram came back and the year he had, if they when this all kind of came out, and I know we're kind of just going all over back to this,
whatever,
but the 14-game losing streak in Arizona was like they were 2 points out of a playoff spot at the All-Star break, right? And then they went on the 14-game losing streak, and that's when they were first originally told what was going to be happening here. And imagine if that does not happen. And imagine if this team is not up and coming with the Coolies and the Doans and the Dylan Gunthers and obviously Clayton Keller and all the other great players that they have there. If Ryan Smith takes this team to the city, but anyways, yeah, back to the playoffs.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like this guy. No wonder he is ecstatic.
Yeah,
is
future's
like
bright. Right?
It's not like you're getting an expansion team where you can George McPhee and you can manipulate all shit and Ron Francis and all that stuff, but like he's getting a legit young up and coming team. Yeah. Like it's good on him. How good is
Clayton Keller? Oh my god.
Yeah, he's real good.
Dylan Gunter, like
real good.
How did we ever go off bait? We were just talking about the first round in the East.
I know. Sorry, that's not me. That's
what we did.
We did.
Yeah, that was on me.
Yeah, we went opposite field on that one.
That is definitely that is bad on me on the host.
That was like Larry Walker opposite field homer right there. Exactly. Study clap.
I had my notes here and I forgot to mention that. That's why. So
hey, you're the host. You can do whatever you want. Dude.
I know. I'll take the heat.
Okay, so I'm picking Carolina. And Brody gave me flack for 7. I'm gonna go 6.
Okay, so Carolina and 6. So, all right, Broads, who do you got?
Well, I don't even think this is a conversation. I got Carolina in 5 or 6.
Okay,
probably the best 5-on-5 team in the NHL.
Yeah,
better everything.
Yeah,
they just have better. All of it is better.
And their head coach and their assistant coaches don't have any contracts for next year. So that'll be interesting to follow. I wonder if there is not a Stanley Cup parade in Carolina, if the contracts don't get renewed. And Rod Brindamore goes with his teammate in Buffalo, Craig Adams. So wonder if that's something to keep an eye on. If
like Craig Adams is on the hot seat, so he's got to pull off a fucking
next hire needs to be
Uno card here.
Anyways, but something to keep an eye on. A head coach like that with no contract next year, and we all know why. The assistant coaches got to get done first, and they have not. So, anyways.
What do you got, Boston?
And I got Carolina in 7. I think this one goes a little bit longer.
7?
Yeah.
Why, guys?
I don't know. You got Patrick Waugh. You got the Islanders. They kind of.
It's the first round, man.
Yeah. It would be interesting. I don't. It's hard to count against Waugh.
You can't knock good goaltending. Dude.
I know. At the end of the day, if Sorokin stands on his head, that's the guy that's
at
you there, right? So. And at the end of the day, if you were to pick Sorokin over Freddie Anderson, you're probably going to pick Sorokin in my eyes. But
he's bound to steal 1, maybe 2 games.
Yeah, it's weird because Freddie Anderson, you look at I think career-wise, he has the second highest winning percentage from National Hockey League goaltenders in the history.
Come on.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, in the history of the National Hockey League, he's got the.
Well, I guess he went from Toronto to Carolina.
Well, he's played really good. Like he was really good in Anaheim. Well, no, he won a lot in Toronto. He won a lot in Carolina, and look where else he won when he started in Anaheim. Man, look how good Anaheim was when he got there before he left and took over. Anaheim was good, so I could. Yeah, he's got the pedigree for sure. So it's a goaltender that you would definitely want to probably have too, but. Seeing the way he was.
And he's not. Hey, let's be real here, boys. He ain't that great.
No.
So that tells you all about. Coaching. Like he's never been awesome ever, and you said he leads the NHL in the history of the NHL, and he's an average NHL goaltender.
So he's got 295 NHL wins and 127 losses. So
it's incredible.
That's a pretty good number. I think winning percentage. A winning percentage. He has the second highest winning percentage in the National Hockey League. It's around like 7.
Yeah, when you're on awesome teams, that's what happens.
Correct. You got that.
I've had this argument, boys. This is so random. Being from the bubble here in St. Albert, all these dads who think they're like friggin' Jacques Lemaire and coaches. I'm like, no, you're from St. Albert, and they have an awesome program with one of the biggest, largest associations going, and you just happen to have more better players than the other coach. That doesn't make you friggin' Jacques Lemaire. It makes you from St. Albert and you coach St. Albert kids. So
Yeah. No.
That's so random, but there you go.
No. I get it. That's exactly it, right? You get that
It's true,
depth.
man.
Like, yeah. And I mean, Sherwood Park is no different.
Yeah.
They've got the same.
I'm sure there's like maybe the MLAC coach is unbelievable. I'm not saying he is or he isn't, but
Yeah.
right.
He doesn't have that depth to work with.
Who was it? I think Scotty Bowman said the best coach is the one who has the most best players.
Exactly.
Something along that's
along those lines.
exactly what he said, but something like that.
Yeah. All right, we'll move over to the next game that starts on Saturday night. The Boston Bruins versus the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I thought you would go last with this one.
We'll just follow the pattern, so then I don't, so I don't go off script
Get
again.
it out of the way.
Exactly. So maybe we should have started this first, but so yeah, Bruins, Leafs. I'm gonna go Toronto in 7. But
you have to.
Yeah, as a Leaf fan, yes, you have to. At the end of the day, do I think Toronto beats them? No, it's been since like 1959 since Toronto's beat Boston. They're 0-4 against them this regular season. I think they're 0-3 or 0-4 against them last year too. We all know the playoff history in the last several years from 2013, 18, and 19. They have lost. So the history is there, but someone on that team has to take the bull by the horns here and say, no, not this year. We are destined, and we're going to exercise the demons just like you did last year. You knocked out Tampa Bay, knowing that Tampa Bay was the better team. You just got 3 overtime winning goals on the road. So, but the special teams, power play, penalty kill will be the biggest difference, and obviously what Matthews and Marner do, which are point per game players, but they need to be a bit better. This William Nylander situation did not practice today. Bobby McMahon will be out for the first little bit of this series. That's a big loss for the Leafs. And TJ Brody will be a healthy scratch in the playoffs, so he'll not play. Same with Mark Giordano; he will not be playing. So
what's wrong with Giordano?
Giordano he didn't cut the straw, cut it to get ahead. He was the odd. He was number 7, and Brody was number 8 on the depth chart, and then Connor Timmins was number 9. And Cade Weber, who they just signed, they just picked him up at a trade. He's the number 10th defenseman. So Simone Benoit will draw in the spot that
that doesn't bode well, Bosco. Not gonna lie.
Is there a vortex that I just entered where TJ Brody is a fucking healthy? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, the last game of the year, he scored his first goal in 127 games. He did not have a great year, but he also was put in situations that he may not should have been put in. But he will be a healthy scratch come Saturday night. So
is that a fact or is that Bosco?
That is a fact. Yeah, no, that's a fact. That was I'm going off of what the lines were at practice today, and the D pairings were at practice, and he is set to be a healthy scratch. Now that
so tell me there's 16 who are playing game 1.
So they got
Brody's fucking scratched.
They got Morgan
and Giordano.
Yeah, so they got Morgan Riley, Ilya Lyubushkin, Simone Benoit, Jake McCabe, Joel Edmondson, and Timothy Liljegren will be their 6th defenseman they're going to dress. Now they have 10 defensemen. They have 4 goaltenders. I'm assuming, at the end of the day, the way I look at it, if Toronto's in a situation where they're going to their 3rd goaltender, they're either down 3-1 or 0-3 in the series, is my guess. So, that would be my guess. So if you're
who's their 3rd goaltender, Jones,
and then Matt Murray, who just played 2 good games in the American League. He is back, but
what's wrong with Nylander?
Nylander, they didn't say today. So the Brad Treliving told Sheldon Keefe there'll be no comment on injuries at all. So no
idea.
So no idea. He did not practice today.
But he played the other day.
He did play. On
that shitty offside play where he was doing nothing.
So now, obviously, yeah, exactly. obviously, it was interesting to watch Overdrive today with Noodles, Hayes, and Odog. They said if William Nylander was playing injured down the stretch for meaningless games because you already knew where you're going to play, it's a fireable offense in the if he doesn't play in the playoffs. That is a fireable offense for Brad Treliving.
100% is, and that's not on Keith.
1 million.
Yeah, so that is so if he because Darren Dreger reported tonight it could be a hip injury, and then he also heard that he could have the flu. But he said all Sheldon Keefe said today for players, all players are available, and we'll see where they go. So that was it. So
there you go.
So we'll
you got the Leafs in 7.
They got the Leafs in 7. I don't know what's going to happen in goal for Boston because they have the same situation, but they actually have two good goaltenders. I know Allmer kind of blanked the bed in the playoffs last year, and then Swayman came in to play Game 7. But Jim Montgomery, all he said is the goaltenders know what's happening, and that's all I'm going to say. And all year he's been rotating, so my guess is he might just follow the same the same situation, back and forth.
Nobody rotates in the playoffs.
Yeah, they typically don't. I agree with that. But he did say that, Swayman is 3-0 against Toronto this year. And Allmark has not had a really good performance in the playoffs as of late. So we'll see. He's an Allmark guy, Jim Montgomery. He's not much of a Swayman guy. But I have the Leafs in 7. At the end of the day, if I'm not a Leaf fan, I would say Bruins in like 6. So, but
there you go.
Just because recency bias, Leafs don't get her done. They find a way.
I get it.
It's either they're 7 and there's
you're on the
heartbreak in
fence.
7.
You have no idea.
It's a pick 'em at the end of the day. So.
For you, yeah, it is.
Closer, you go ahead.
Well, I got kind of 2 schools of thought on this. One, at some point the Leafs got to do it, and I actually kind of want them to do it. In addition to, you look at Boston's actual team, and on paper, they're not fabulous. They really aren't. But then my head kicks in and I go, it's playoffs. The Leafs have no goaltending and no defense, and the better goalie's going to win. I'm going with Boston in 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And that's probably the reality, right? They have a better goalie, they have better defense. It's probably going to happen. They're going to win. I'm going to go Boston in 6 based on goaltending alone.
Yeah. I don't blame you for that.
Sorry, Bosco. I'm sorry, pal.
There's nothing to be sorry about, my friend. At the
Boston
end of the day,
5.
Boston,
Move on.
Boston 5.
Move on, eh? Vandy, not a brute, not cheering at all.
No, it's
hey. So obviously Toronto.
I think here's my thought. There's too many egos in Toronto.
Okay, so you just hired Treliving, probably safe to say. Shanahan and Sheldon Keefe tied together. They obviously Brad Treliving extended Sheldon Keefe, but Leafs don't get out of the first round. Sheldon Keefe, Brendan Shanahan fired, Mitch Marner traded. Obviously you can't win if you can't win with this core of Toronto now. You're never going to beat Boston ever.
No,
never.
You're not going to beat Boston. It's not Boston. You're not going to beat anybody with
with
no goaltending and no defense.
Yeah.
You have a player on your team that's could get 70 goals, and you don't fucking play him every second shift.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? It's a meaningless game. Why is he? First of all, why is he even playing the game unless he's chasing 70 fucking goals?
Yeah.
And you rotate 4 lines.
Remember when Ryan Smith needed a goal and he basically played for like 4 minutes at a time?
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, you're
right.
Wrong.
I mean, look at even Kucherov. Kucherov played like back-to-back power plays, and it was like 10 minutes.
Now I know our buddy
and he finally got his assist.
Yeah.
But it's not Keith's fault, man, that he has shitty defense
like,
and way too many good forwards who eat up too much cap space.
No, but I don't think Keith is as good as.
He's a good regular season coach.
He's overstayed his welcome.
Yeah, he's a good regular season coach. But our buddy Tim Peel don't like.
Yeah, but you and I, the 3 of us, can be good with that team in regular season.
Yeah,
every single year. Yeah,
it's clockwork. 8 years in a row.
An our problem, man.
Right? So second longest streak going into the playoffs. Yeah, we'll see. Right? I don't know. At the end of the day, obviously, we'll get to some other situations here too. But I got a question for you guys that I saw on TSN's The Quiz tonight. The Ken Dryden, the Quiz Master. So, I'll pose that question to you guys later on. But I don't know. They're obviously very polarizing. They're definitely going in heavy underdogs. They've lost 4 straight going in. They've given up 5 or more goals. They've had 3 different goaltenders give up 5 or more goals going in these last 4 games.
That is not good.
So the recipe isn't perfect. At the end of the day, I understand everyone starts at 0 starting tomorrow night, but I don't know. They just there's not much confidence, but eventually you have to get over it. If you don't, then obviously, yeah, you have no choice to blow up the core. You just signed Nylander and you just signed Matthews. Tavares has 1 year left, so I can't see you bringing it back with this group. And Marner's.
So they're done. Boston wins. Toronto's out.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's move over to the Battle of Florida, the fight in Florida, as Carolyn Cameron likes to say, or sorry, Ivanka Osmak was saying the other night. Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Florida Panthers. Vandy, who do you got?
Florida. I mean, I think. Tampa does have Vasilevsky and they still got their core, but I think at the end of the day, Florida is deeper. They're meaner. They got that grit and I'm kind of going against what I always say, experience and stuff, but I think it's Florida's time. I think Matthew Tkachuk is the X factor in that series, and you haven't really heard a lot about him this year.
Yeah,
and I think he's the X factor. I think they get it done. It's going to be this is definitely one that's going 7. And yes. Florida's got it. So
closer.
I'm going Florida in 7, and I think this could be the best of any series. Right. I think it's going to be an absolute barn burner, just physical and just pure skill everywhere. Like, you think about, when's the last time you heard anything about Barkov? That guy is a fucking stud.
Yeah.
And you barely hear anything about him.
What's crazy?
And he's unbelievable.
When
that series is going to be nuts, and it's going to be fantastic, and I will be watching every second of it.
Yep.
But I do think they both have great goalies. They both have lots of offense. They both have good D. I think Florida has a little bit better D, and I think that's what
Sergachev.
And I think they'll have a little bit more grit, and I think they'll probably just end up taking it. But I think it's going 7, man.
Yeah, same here.
I agree.
Fun fact.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay somehow figured it out to win. But we're doing predictions, so I'm taking Florida in 7.
Yeah.
Bosco, what do you got?
I got Lightning in 7. A fun fact about Barkov, you just said when Petro was playing with him, I don't know if Barkov still does it, but the stick at the top of the stick, you could take that little clip off and it kind of opens up like the little nub or whatever. It's like a CCM logo or Bauer logo or whatever.
Yeah, the one every game one falls out.
Correct. He actually opens that up. He fills up his stick with water. He puts water in his stick to keep.
How far up?
I don't think it's that far up, but it's probably.
Listen, there's a.
I need to hear this. I want to hear this. Yeah, Tell me more.
So he puts. I think it's like it's about like the 25% mark of water. He puts so it's not.
Can you find out? Can you get details on this?
I could for sure.
Please do. So,
yeah,
I'm interested.
I know that I'm googling.
He would put water in. Petro told me this all the time. He doesn't drink obviously, but like he's a different guy. Like they had a team party at my uncle's restaurant, Central Social Hall. He's the only guy that didn't come out. But when I was asking, that was that year. That they came through. And I said, what's he like? And he goes, you know what? He's an interesting guy, but it's like one of the weird things I've ever seen him do is he takes the clip off, whatever, at the top before he tapes the stick up. He fills up the stick with water because the stick's heavier. It's harder to push the stick off the puck apparently to a defender. I don't know if that makes any sense but yeah, he put about like 25% of water in his hockey stick and play the game with it like that. So, and just go to the next stick if it breaks or whatever. So I don't know.
Is he Russian or Finnish?
He's Finnish. Yeah, he's Finnish.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So a fun little fact about him. So
that makes sense though. Like sticks are so bloody late now.
Yeah.
And you have a heavy stick. Well, yeah, he actually has a heavy stick.
And he's not a shooter.
No, he's definitely not.
Right. So he doesn't need a kick point or anything like that.
Fabulous pass. Him and Draisaitl.
Why don't you just use a wood stick then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you could, yeah.
Or you just use a stick that's 4 years old.
Yeah. Anyway,
or 6 years old, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Or you could also get a stick that's just heavier, regardless. Get it them to specially make you one that way.
Yeah. I feel like they could do that.
He might. That's obviously a 2016-17 season he was doing that. So I don't know what he's doing now.
Hey, listen,
but I'm going to look into
would
it.
it not freeze?
Yeah. I don't think so. You know, it might as the game goes on. So I don't know how many times he's intertwined.
I probably just sounded like an idiot
I don't
saying
know.
that because it's composite and it's probably not that cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you're playing at Russ. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
probably not playing at like Russ Martin's arena.
No, exactly. No. Anyways, yeah, I thought
that was pretty bad, Vandy. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, no, it was terrible. Stupid.
Not editing that out. So.
Don't.
All right, let's move over to the Capitals versus the Rangers. Obviously, the Rangers winning the President's Trophy there. So obviously, maybe that curse will be beaten. But Closer, we'll go to you first on this one. Who do you have? Caps, Rangers?
Well, we're lingering on. We're not even in the West yet, so I'm going Rangers in 3. Move on. Next.
There you go. Rangers in 3. You're doing the PJ Stock.
There you go.
A couple years ago, Stock did that a couple years ago when he was Hockey Night Canada. Okay,
but reality, it's not close. Rangers
minus 37 goal differential for the Caps.
Yeah, it's over. So, it's not close. Maybe might go 5 or might go 6, but whatever. It's not. Yeah. It's not a close series at the end of the day.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Jeff O'Neill, Brian Hayes made a $500 bet on TSN today that if the Caps win one game, Brian Hayes gets $500. So,
that's a good deal for Hayes. They got to win one.
Right?
Yeah, one game. That's all you got to do is win one.
It's the first round.
Yeah,
they got to win one. Just a random game.
I'm obviously, Mitch Love, friends of Carberry, friends of the pod. So I'm just gonna go. I know they're not gonna do it, but it's just for our boys there. I'm gonna pick the Caps in an upset here. There has to be 3 upsets, but whatever. I'll say Caps in 7 in an upset. Bandy, go ahead.
No, and I mean a much spark to Mitch Love and the staff and what they did, and I mean to Ovi but I'm sorry, you're outmatched, you're outweighted. It's Rangers 5 because there aren't many sweeps in the first round, so
no, usually not, right?
It's Rangers 5. Move on.
All right, moving on. All right, let's get to the West. The Canucks versus the Preds. I'll go first on this one. I'm going to say Canucks in 7 in this one. The Preds did come on as of late. They got a pretty deep team. They're well structured. Burnett's a great coach. But the Canucks have had a pretty good year. So Demko's back. He's played the last 2 games. So I'm gonna go Canucks in 7 here. Vandy, your thoughts?
I'm going Preds. Preds 7, let's say. They're a big, heavy team, and the Preds we don't see a lot of. They're like the forgotten child kind of thing. But they've come on as of late. They've got that core group and that tightness of a good team. So yeah, I'm going Preds. Vancouver, I think, is just lack a little bit of that experience. You got the Ryan O'Reilly, the Fact Daddy, whatever everybody calls him. But
yeah,
I think you're gonna see. Vancouver's gonna get a little bit of this is what playoffs is like, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, and you're going against Tocchet, who's more than likely going to win the Jack Adams. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. He's had a pretty good year. Closer, your thoughts on this series?
Go on Preds in 6 or 7, and the reason, just like Vandy, is experience. Vancouver doesn't have it. It takes years to get it. And yes, they're awesome, but do you think that back end in Vancouver has ever done this before? Nope. They're gonna go into battle. They're gonna try their best. And at the end of the day, they're gonna come out with a little bit of experience and growth and be better for it next year. But I just don't think they have it based on experience alone. And not alone. That in addition to Nashville has been buzzing, right? They've been going since the trade deadline and not only have they been going since the trade deadline, they've been going since the trade deadline after trading away good players when nobody had any expectations of them. So I think they're going to beat them just based on the fact that they're big, strong, heavy, experienced against. What is this about?
Well,
What's
maybe the
happening?
Canucks are a year ahead of schedule, right? So
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
argue that a bit. Maybe just a bit ahead of schedule, and maybe they face some adversity here, right? So
and then add in that with the video. The video I
I
sent
was
you
just
guys.
gonna say
Yeah,
DJ here jinx them.
Yeah, I said
DJ, whatever the hell his
You
name
said
is,
that to me.
they need to lose. They need to lose right away.
What did Biz say? That was that might be detrimental. Yeah. I said that to Biz. He gave me a thumbs up after Brody said that to me. So
oh, that was funny.
That was hilarious. A YouTube video that was like on the internet there. But
listen, Cadence did the Connor McDavid song.
Yeah,
and that's pretty good. That song's bad. Like,
hey, that's my wife's cousin. Easy.
No. Connor McDavid's song was good.
Oh, okay.
The tune that these guys did is not very good.
Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah. No, the cadence, that song is incredible. Like, that's played every.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, it's still played. U18 kids still play it for crying
out. Oh, that's awesome. Good to hear.
There you go. All right, so that's what we have there.
What do you got, Bosco?
I opened it up with Preds in 7.
Okay. Sorry, Red Wine's on Friday night. Yeah, great week. Sorry.
All right, let's move over to the Jets versus the Avalanche. Vandy, your thoughts on this series?
Oof. Yeah, exactly, bro. It's like this is going to be of the West. This will be like the fight in Florida. This will be whatever the fight for. I don't know, whatever. But I'm going Avs. I just think McKinnon's on a different level, and I don't think the Jets have the defense to stop that attack. I think McKinnon is just, I'm not saying he's going to lead it right to the Stanley Cup, but McKinnon's on a whole different wavelength. Like, he's at the point in his career where he can take over a game, take over a series. And the Jets just flat out, I don't think they have anybody that can stop him on the back end. So I'm going, I'll go Avs in 6.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's hard to go against that. I would say, obviously Tyler Toffoli, friend of the pod, on the Jets. Sean Monahan, the only player this year to play 83 games. This guy was injury bugged. Obviously played the extra game because he got traded from Montreal.
No shit.
Yeah, so he got the extra game. Obviously, it's an 82 game schedule, but he got game number 83. So I got a lot of likes on that. I posted that on the Instagram account, so got a lot of likes to that. Just great to see him back. But just the way the Abs play, the pace, the way they practice, just like come at you at waves. The only thing that questions for me is Georgiev has not been the same goaltender in the last month and a half. I would say Connor Hellebuyck, if not is the best goaltender in the National Hockey League, one of the best. So I'm going to go. And the Jets were 4-0 against them, the Avs this year. They pumped their tires. Colorado's the best home team. They got their worst loss, 7-0 against the Jets at Ball Arena. That's a tough one. Pick them, but I'm gonna go Jets in 7. My dad was from Winnipeg. He's a big Jets fan. That's my father.
Well, there you go. So and you gotta go with the Jets.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the Jets. Tyler Toffoli, my father, all that. So Jets in 7. Closer, your thoughts?
Well, we talked about Toronto. We talked about Boston. Talked about goaltending. I'm going Winnipeg in 7, based on goaltending alone.
Yeah.
Even though Colorado has clearly the better team.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, goaltending matters, and goaltending is what does it. Georgiev is terrible as far as National Hockey League goalies go. So he's still unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he ain't. Hellebuyck. Hellebuyck's going to do it, and it'll be an ugly, boring series, I think, because Winnipeg's just going to trap and be ugly and mean, and every whistle they're going to be in their faces. And
Adam Lowry's going to do his thing and all that.
Yeah, really? I don't think it's going to. You think they're going to trap it down? I guess that would be the only way you could probably slow down Colorado. But
these goaltenders are 1 and 2.
Right? They got. You look at their back end: Makar, Taves, Girard. Like that's.
But how do you slow that down?
You sit in the neutral zone and you make them chip it in, and then you let.
But then you got a bulldog. You got a bulldog like Nate coming at you, hitting you every.
Yeah.
You sit back in the neutral zone. You make them dump it in, or that's it. Let Hellebuyck take care of the rest. I'm going Hellebuyck and the Winnipeg Jets in 6, not even 7. I'm going in 6.
6. All right. There you go. Okay, let's move
on.
over.
I think it'll be a super boring series where we just watch the highlights and see the results. That's it.
That's it, eh?
Which is crazy to think when you have Colorado, who's super exciting, and
I think that's going to be the most exciting series.
Yeah, Let's see. I'm looking forward to this one. Dallas Stars versus the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll see how many Vegas Golden Knights come back from this crazy return of injury. We'll see if everyone's there. They're out with a lot of players last night, so we'll see if how many guys are ready for Game 1. But Dallas Stars, they probably don't get enough love. Obviously, Vernon Fiddler's there. That's our boy too. But it's hard to count them out. They got 2 first lines, Stankoven, Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnson on that third line. They're just so good. Jake Ottinger and Nets. I don't think there's a repeat, so I'm gonna go Stars in 7 in this one. Closer, your thoughts?
I'm going Stars in 5.
Stars in 5. All right.
The reason I say that is I think Vegas will be, I don't want to say rusty, but collectively as a group, they haven't played enough games together, healthy, to know, like, here's what we're doing, here's how it's happening, here's what's going on.
Yeah.
I think they do have they have an amazing amount of depth, but I don't think they're going to be ready to roll collectively as a group. And Dallas is just awesome. Most underrated team. Them and Carolina, like we talked about, whatever that was, an hour ago, 45 minutes ago. They're deep. They're good. They're awesome. Nobody's talking about them, and they're going to pound them. And we're going to say, see you later, Vegas. Fabulous news for the Oilers. Move on. In 5.
In 5. All right. Vandy, your thoughts?
Dallas 7. I think it's going to take Dallas a little bit of time to they had obviously a fantastic regular season, but I think it's going to take a little bit of time for Ben to rein in these kids, Stankoven, Wyatt Johnson, and Dallas. Really, when you think about it, they don't have a lot of experience past first round, second round, and Vegas, in a sense, that'll give Vegas 2, maybe 3 wins. So I'm going to go Dallas. They're eventually going to overcome it. Dallas will move on. It'll be 7 games, but again, I think it'll take them a while to get going and shake the nerves and realize that it is just another game. But I mean, remember when we were talking about Stankoven at the World Juniors, and like, this kid is he's like your prototypical French, or like a French bulldog or a bulldog, right? Where he's just that ball of brick where he just goes after. Dallas in 7.
5 foot nothing.
Right. Dallas in 7. And this is another series I want to watch too. But I mean, we got to look at, why did they bring in Hanifin?
Yep.
There's something really wrong with, I think, with Pietrangelo.
Yeah, I don't think illness, right? So
I don't think he's going to be able to go in the first round. Now, he could wheelchair cast, pop up and come in again, but I don't know. I truly believe, I don't think he's going to play in the first round.
Yeah, that'll be there's no word on him at all from what I understand. So
nothing. Right.
Still got a pretty good defense core there, but both Hanifin were out in that last game.
So does Dallas. So
yes, Dallas has
Heiskanen is unbelievable.
Yeah, Heiskanen is
unbelievable.
So good.
Lindell, and they're loaded, and obviously Suter on the back end. So definitely interesting to see. All right, the last but not least, the LA Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. 3rd year in a row that these guys will meet. Oilers are going to see 3 different goaltenders from the LA Kings, and obviously the first time they played it was quick, and then Jonas Korpisalo. Now they got their former teammate Cam Talbot on the other end. It's been an interesting year for Cam Talbot, up and down. Obviously LA fired their coach. Oilers did the same thing too. Both teams were floundering, and they're in the playoffs. Obviously, the Oilers are a big threat, big heavy favorite. This is going to be a tough one for LA. The difference maker in this series, if LA wins this series, we will talk about LA winning this series if Pierre-Luc Dubois shows up. He's had a horrible season to date. I'll just be honest. He's not had a season that you would want, but he has a chance to re-rate all of that in the playoffs, and that could be the X factor in the series. Quentin Byfield finally got off the schneid. He with a goal. He actually got a $212,000 bonus for that goal the other night to getting his 20th goal. So, but he had not scored in 17 games going in. The LA Kings don't score at the end of the day, but Victor Arvidsson was obviously a player that was hurt during these series before. He could help them out too. They're not as deep as the Oilers are for sure, but I'd be very surprised if the Kings win. The only way the Kings win is if the Oilers' defense is floundering. And if you guys, I'm sure you guys have noticed this. CC and Nurse have got the lesser matchups. They are actually paired to being the third pair on the Oilers.
They settled down third pair, second pair.
They are the third pair. If you go back and look at it, they are the third pair in the last 10 games. The matchups they've been getting are third pair matchups. So
is that fact, Bosco?
It is. I'm not joking. And if you don't believe me, listen to Alex Friedman's podcast a couple of days ago. He also talked about it on his podcast too. He had someone reach out to him, and they've been utilized as the third pair in the last, I think it was 10 games. So Kulak and Desharnais have been getting that second pair matchups. But I still think the Oilers win, and I don't know if it's as close as we want to think it is, just because this is a year of destiny for the Oilers in my eyes. In a way, looking at it, it's kind of hard to believe that it would not be. But the only way is Stuart Skinner's numbers in the playoffs are not that great, guys, either. So he's allowed 4 goals per game. His save percentage is around 850 something, and so overall, but this is a different Stuart Skinner in my eyes. He took the reins this year when Jack Campbell was sent down, and he obviously finished third in wins this year with 36. So I say Oilers in 5. So Closer, your thoughts?
Well, my brain tells me the Oilers, but it's pretty hard to beat a team 3 years in a row, is it not? Like, that seems crazy to me.
It does.
You'll be able to do that. But I am from Edmonton or St. Albert here, so they're a better team. I think they're going to win in 6, and I think it's going to be so boring. And I can't fathom, if you're not an Oilers fan watching this series, you're going to say this is like watching paint dry. It's going to be horrific.
1-3-1 all day long.
The old 1-3-1, dump it in the corner, chip it in, chip it out, chip it in, chip it out. Lots of 3-2 wins, maybe 4-2 empty netters type of thing, maybe 2-1s. It's going to be so boring, but the Oilers will get it done in 6. I'm going to go Oilers in 6.
Oilers in 6. Okay. Vandy, your thoughts?
To me, until, I think Skinner took a step this year, but I think the goalies are a wash.
That's fair. I like that.
And at the end of the day, it's going to be a special teams series, obviously with Edmonton's power play. Look, at the end of the day, the Kings have that experience. They don't have the depth. This is the deepest Oilers team we've seen in 5 years, 6 years?
Definitely. For a long damn time.
Be longer than that, right? So
right, even longer. And we're coming on to, we got to make a serious, and not just get to the conference, get swept or lose in 5. It's got to be, we got to make a run or start making a run. And I think that starts with your leadership core. And I think this leadership core, and we've talked about it before on the pod, I think they've taken that next step, and I believe we're going to see. I think Monday's going to be a blowout, to be honest with you, and the Oilers are going to win in 5. We're going to disperse of the Kings and move on to probably Nashville and they're they're gonna have to learn to play in those hostile environments. I don't. LA's probably not like that hostile, but yeah, we're Edmonton in 5, Oil 5.
All right. Okay.
God, I hope you're right.
Okay. Well.
Hey, I got a random Oilers stuff for you boys.
Yep.
Can you tell me once this season, just once, where you're like, holy shit, Kulak and CC were terrible? Or no, I'm going to do you one more. Can you tell me once this season where you thought Kulak and CC were anything?
Nothing.
That's beautiful.
If you don't notice them, that's
Steady,
a perfect
steady on the
5-6
runner.
pairing. Or
Right?
according
Exactly.
to Bosco, 3-4 pairing.
Yeah. Right? You're just
Steady on the rudder, right? So I think
exactly.
what does CC have?
Fabulous news.
CC has 5 goals in his last 9 games.
Yeah.
Nah, whatever. I'm not even looking. CC, if he doesn't score, I don't give a shit.
No, I know.
Who cares?
If he doesn't get scored on,
Like the biggest thing that you would say is, where's Darnell? Is Darnell Nurse going to be the Darnell Nurse that is worth the 9.25 million, or is he going to be on the other end of it? Right? It's like, that's the only thing is
yeah. But if Darnell Nurse is indeed getting third line matchups, that's a pretty fucking good problem.
Pretty good problem.
Probably is. The LA's built down the middle. You got Cole.
100% they are.
You got Dano.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, Dano scares the shit out of me because he's a playoff performer.
Why you shut guys
Dubois,
down?
I think
Fuck
he is
Dubois.
he is an X. I know he is an X factor though. He is. I mean, he
can be for sure.
A kid like that could get hot, boom, and then fuck. He got 9 goals and LA beat us.
He ain't showing up in the playoffs.
1,000,000% I agree.
Yeah, I remember being in the press box in Calgary. I was in the press box in Calgary. Like I said before, my seat is the last, is right where the scouts are. So I'm the last media guy, and it's all scouts. And I remember, I'm not going to name the scout, not obviously the team he plays for, but I was talking to this scout about Pierre-Luc Dubois, and he wasn't even playing that night. That team wasn't there, but I was just asking about him in the intermission. And he, a couple of years ago, his job was to watch Pierre-Luc Dubois all year because he was coming up.
No shit.
Yeah, so he followed him throughout pretty much the whole year, 6 months. And
give me that job.
Yeah,
yes. Tell me, I want to know what his opinion was.
Yeah. But so I asked him, I was like, how is it going? How's scouting going? And yeah, he's like, yeah, you know what? I was like, have you ever had is it a group of players, all that? He's like, well, obviously you're out there, you're watching everyone, but you get told what your GM tells you what you're supposed to do. So you're getting your direct orders. And he just said, yeah, like the whole year, 6 months, my job was to watch this guy play everywhere pretty much he went.
Listen,
and he said at the end of the year, I said, well, what was it? Was it
I'd watch him warm up.
Was it yes or no? He goes, man, I don't know how many times I would sit there and be like, did he play tonight? Or then I would see him as like, okay, he did play tonight. And I said, well, what was the verdict? Obviously, there was a sign and trade to so your whole job was to see if you would get to free agency. Maybe you guys could sign him. And I said, what did you have to go back with? And I said, I told my GM, not interested. And that was how it was. So, so he was the most he said he was the most frustrating player to watch on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
So that's
listen,
from an NHL scout. So
Bosco, you've seen it, bro. You've seen these kids, and you just I've coached kids who are just like, oh, tonight's the night. And then it doesn't happen. Tonight's the night. Today's the day. That kind of thing. And you're like, fuck.
And you know what else, boys? I got, as a father of a 5'8", 47-year-old, of a father whose kids who both play hockey, that's what they're going to be in life. I take a great offense to watching somebody who's 6'3". Right. I don't know how big he is, but he's a big ass man.
Yep. With
extreme talent, like 1% talent in the world.
Yeah.
Who just floats through an NHL career, right? He could be, I watch these kids at 14. I'm like, man, you should be the best fucking player on the ice every single game, but your give a fuck level is about 2%. Pierre-Luc Dubois is that player.
Yeah.
Him and Kirby Dach.
Yeah.
They're the same.
They are. Yeah.
They're huge, talented, but their give a fuck level is way down here.
Yeah, it's not there at all. So
and it frustrates I'm getting angry right now. My 5'8" frame is getting pretty angry right now.
Yeah. I could tell. Yeah, no, I was blown away by that. We were just sitting there having an iced tea and some popcorn, and just kind of picking his brain and intermission time, and so it was kind of interesting to see. I think what happened is, like, because there's TV's bias, so there are obviously some other games going on. So I was just like, hey, Dubois, and I just like, he's obviously a polarizing guy, so it's nice to just sit there and ask him. And so yeah, honest opinion, didn't hold back, told me some good stories about it. But then I just said at the end of the day, not interested. That's how you tell the GM.
Oh my God!
Right back, not interested, and that's the email. And
that's how. So probably a dumb, maybe even rhetorical question. How does a guy like that get in? First of all, into the NHL, drafted. I mean, is it?
It might go back to what
nepotism. Is it?
Well, it might go back to what Closer said on just the size, right?
It is for sure.
Like the size.
And you're
the
hoping
speed is there and everything, right? There's the.
You're hoping you can teach or work with them. Is that what it is?
You keep seeing these flashes of a 6'3".
But if they're having meetings with these kids at 14, 15, 16, 17, you're telling me not one fucking guy can in your scouting staff can like figure this shit out and go, no, this fucking dude is.
Well, he wanted out of Columbus, and then he wanted to go to Montreal when he was in Columbus, and then he went to Winnipeg, where his dad was an assistant coach, and didn't want to be there either. So,
and then, dad was involved in hockey.
Yeah, his dad was the assistant coach for the Manitoba Moose, which are obviously in Manitoba, and
so it's nepotism
by the same organization as the Winnipeg Jets, obviously. So, yeah, that like.
It's like Galchenyuk boys, or you just see this giant human who's insanely talented.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll give him a shot. Yeah, we can get him going. All he has to do is work hard. He's the best player on the ice. Well, it's not really how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now, you watch. I noticed. Well, you must notice this, Clay. You watch a couple kids over the years. You watch them 59 times a year. And those 7 games a year, you're like, oh my God, you're the best player on the ice. You're incredible. But the other, whatever, say 52 games in the year, you're like, oh my God, you're bad. But those 7 games, you were the best player on the ice. Like, you want to take a chance. You're taking a chance on that kid because you're 6'2" and you're giant and you have all this talent over the 5'7" guy or 5'9" guy who works hard and isn't quite as talented, or the 6' guy who isn't quite as talented. Just because you think, he's got to be able to figure this out. Yeah, he has everything.
Great point.
But he doesn't.
Yeah. All right. So Will McNeil sent his picks in. He is probably the number one fan of our podcast. Would you say, Vandy?
First of all, the background on Will's straight up. Like, I've asked Will to join my bench staff.
Yeah.
With our kids at U18 or U15, and he's like, I will, but I don't. I never played hockey. He's a soccer player through and through. He grew up with all my soccer buddies and stuff. But
what's his name?
Will McNeil.
Well, of course he's a soccer player. His name's fucking Billy McNeil.
Right.
He's Scottish. He's from Glasgow, for Christ's sake, probably.
His kid, my kid, they're good buddies, and they grew up in Millwoods together. They're both 08. So Liam, his son, played on he plays on our inline team this year. And so anyway, Will, I'm surprised he even knows the names of the teams.
Well, I asked him earlier today because I was like, he's the number one fan of the.
I know he's a sports fan through and through.
So I was like, you know what? So he took some time. He sent them in. I think he said he wanted a little bit more time because we're also going to transition after this to our conference final and our Stanley Cup winner. But
you should call
him. Will McNeil, I guess we could cold call him, right? But so West. So obviously West, he has Vegas in 5. Then he has Winnipeg in 7, and then he has the Canucks in 6. He has the Oilers in 7. So that's where he has those. And then he has the Lightning in 6. He has the Leafs in 6. He has the.
That's why you're fucking. You love him.
Of course, you're reading his out.
He has the New York Rangers in 4, and then he has the Carolina Hurricanes in 5. So
right.
that's
Not
plenty
bad.
there. So
Not bad.
all right.
Couple upsets
He
on there.
didn't pick Juventus to win this Stanley Cup.
He
Yeah.
did put that in. Yeah, he did put that in. Yeah.
Glasgow Rangers. They're
Exactly.
winning it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That is hilarious. Celtics, hey?
Yeah, right.
So,
Is he Catholic or Protestant? What is he?
I
yeah,
don't know. I don't.
ask him. So
We don't talk about religion.
yeah, no, we do actually. So
That's a soccer thing.
yeah.
Celtic is Catholic, Rangers are Protestant. Just saying.
Anyways, yeah. So let's get to our conference final and our Stanley Cup winner. So I'll Vandy, give us your conference final for the West and the East, and then your Stanley Cup winner.
Dallas Oil. Dallas wins. Florida and Florida, Carolina. Florida wins. Dallas, Florida final. Dallas final wins.
All right. Closer.
We're close, Clay. We're close. Dallas and Edmonton, and Dallas wins, sadly. Carolina and Florida, and Carolina wins.
All righty.
Yeah.
Okay, I got obviously the same. I got the Oilers in the Stars in the conference final, but I got the Oilers winning in 7
Attaboy.
over them. They got to get to a cup final, and then out east, I got the New York Rangers, the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, I think we can have that matchup. So
yeah,
and then no, I actually think that won't be. No, that would not be.
Come on, man. Prepare yourself for these things.
It'll be Florida Bruins.
Yes. I have it written down. I'm reading it wrong, though. I wrote it down wrong. That's what it is. Yeah, anyways, I got the Rangers. I got the Rangers and the Oilers in the Stanley Cup final. And I got
That'll be sick too.
I got the New York Rangers winning in 7. So
fuck, you're all about ratings, aren't you?
Oilers Rangers would be pretty sick.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, they've had some good games in the past. That's why, right? So look at all those games they've had in the last several years. That great goal by Connor. So
Dallas is way too deep, dude.
Dallas is a wagon.
Yeah.
What did Canal? Let's hear Canal.
He didn't give anything. He
What about Rupp?
Rupp did give his.
First of all,
get him on the horn right now.
No, Rupp is.
Rupper's got
a. Rupp just texted me. He's like, Clay, I'm indisposed. I'm listening to Rogan and the Rogan podcast where he had Tucker. He's like, when I say indisposed, yeah,
he sent it to me, man.
So he probably dropped a couple of gummies and is listening to Tucker and Rogan talk. Yeah. Listen, the Rogan Kid Rock interviews really good.
Rogan, anybody interviews unbelievable.
Yeah, he's good at what he does.
He's fat. I like that he's very like it's random. It's not like it's specific on.
Yeah, and that's what the Kid Rock thing was. They were like, there was like a 2 minute, not a 2 minute, like a minute pause, and then Kid Rock goes, "That neon sign behind you looks good. Where'd you get it done?" They went on like a half an hour rant about the neon sign and how
if you're bored and you got some gummies in you, Google Joe Rogan and coyotes and just go down a rabbit hole of that. It's
the best story I could say about Joe Rogan that I saw. Dana White told it. He said something on his podcast, and the UFC wanted to fire him. And Dana White said, "Perfect. Here's my resignation too. See you later."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?"
It's great.
He's like, "Yeah." So he's just like,
I'm out.
If he goes down, I go down too. I take my people with me. So obviously that did not happen. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Rupper has Avs, Oilers, conference final, Panthers, Hurricanes, and then in his Stanley Cup final, he has Avs, Panthers, and then he has a rematch of the 96 final, Avs winning the Stanley Cup again.
You know what, boys? We're collectively pretty close.
Yes. Yeah.
A couple teams here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty linear. Close. It's pretty good.
What's Rupper's hard on with the Avs. Fuck,
Well, and
They're just really good.
friend of the pod, Craig Button has he has the Leafs going to the second round against Florida, and then he has the Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round too, and then he has in the conference final Florida and Carolina, and then he has the Panthers going on to represent the East, and then out west he has the Canucks and Oilers in the second round, and then Dallas, Winnipeg, and then in the conference final Dallas and Edmonton, and then Dallas going on to face the Florida Panthers, but he has the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup.
There you go. He's the same as us, give or take.
Yeah. So pretty much everyone's following that.
And we're all going to be fucking wrong.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Craig said. So he's like, well, I'll be wrong. He goes, if
it'll be the fucking Islanders winning.
Islanders in Vancouver in the final.
All right. The last question.
Midstream.
Last question before we go. I'll just first credit this. I taken this from TSN's the quiz tonight, the last quiz of the year. A friend of the pod, James Duthie, hosting that, and the quiz master, aka Steve Dryden, who I met, is an amazing person too.
Are you supposed to say his name?
Yeah, you could say his name. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah. So
it was funny when it was
well, no, it was funny when I thought I outed him 2 years ago, but when I actually first met him was during that Helenka Gretzky Cup back in the day, and the World Juniors was in Edmonton at the same time. But yeah, when I went for breakfast with the Bob father there, we were walking up to the arena, and he's like, "This is the Quizmaster." And I was like, what?
No shit.
Yeah, so
Bob outed him.
Bob goes, "This is the Quizmaster." So it was funny because that was Connor Bedard scored a sick goal against Finland. So I took my niece and nephew. There's that famous picture of us wearing the Jeff O'Neill t-shirt. Yeah. So we were walking up, and I said, "Hey, Quizmaster." And he's like, "You can't say that out loud." So because there was a bunch of fans in the arena, right? So, but anyways. Yeah, Steve Dryden's his name. It's just no one knows what he looks like, I guess, unless you find out that. But anyways, so yeah, great person. But he posed the question to the panel tonight, and I'll send that out to you guys. One of them was, and this is the only one we can get into, is the true or false? Is there pressure on Connor McDavid to bring the Stanley Cup home to Edmonton this year, Vandy?
Oh, the most pressure.
Yeah.
Right, because buddy right next door to number 29 is up for a contract soon, way too soon, sadly. But
he could sign his extension this July 1st for Leon.
Yeah,
with
if they go out in the first, second round, he ain't doing that. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
there is a ton of pressure on Connor McDavid, probably the most in the NHL, to be honest.
Yeah, and that was the kind of how the question was phrased. Out of all the players in the playoffs, who faces the most pressure, and they just choose him.
But the good news is he's Connor McDavid, and he's able to step up to that. Not only step up to it, but dummy it.
So the Mike Johnson, so Jeff O'Neill said true. Darren Dreger said true. Mike Johnson said false, because he's like, if the Oilers don't come out of don't win the Stanley Cup, get eliminated in the first round and the second round, we definitely know it will not be Connor McDavid's fault, because we know what he can do in the playoffs.
It won't be his fault.
It won't be his fault. He said it will be the way the team was constructed around him. So he wouldn't put the blame on him. And he said there's no pressure, because at the end of the day, he's going to be doing everything that he can to win. And obviously, same with Leon Draisaitl. Vandy, you haven't really said much there, so kind of just
no. I don't think that I agree with MJ, as they call him on NHL Network. I don't. There's no pressure on Connor.
What?
It's just going to be another no. I mean, what's Leon going to do? If Leon leaves, Leon's staying here. But
even if
it's going to be a Sid Gino. It's going to be a Sid Gino. There's no way fucking Leon is leaving.
So say, closer to 20 minutes ago, talked about it's pretty hard to beat a team 3 years in a row. I also can I'll say the same thing for Jim Montgomery, like probably one of the best coaches. Like, do you think Jim Montgomery's going to get outed in the first round 2 years in a row? I know it's 2 years in a row versus 3 years.
No, and that's
why I have a hard time believing.
That was one of the notes I had was Toronto needs to get past Boston, but Boston needs to get over that first round hump.
Yeah.
It's no different. Look, at the end of the day, Edmonton's going to make the conference final again. It's just they're going to run into Dallas, in my opinion. Now, shit's going to go sideways. We all know that.
And
but
we know.
But at the end of the day, there's no pressure on Connor.
Yeah.
Connor doesn't. Connor's Connor. Okay. This is the deepest team. It's up to these kids, and it's up to Kyle Knobloch, Chris Knobloch, Kyle. Oh, what the fuck? Yeah. Chris Knobloch on how he uses Connor, Leon, Hyman. You know, okay, Hyman, you 53 goals. That's cute. What are you going to do for us in the playoffs? Yeah. And Hyman,
none of it matters.
At the end of the day, man to man, Hyman knows that. Yep. And Hyman's got to come through. Evander Kane, Corey Perry, Carrick, Adam Henrique.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a deep team. We've got 6, 7, 8, probably 8 legit NHL players on a roster where we've been going to the playoffs and we're going, fuck, what the fuck? You know, now is Holloway even going to crack this lineup? You performed well, and it's going to be great to see him in the playoffs, get a taste. McLeod, same thing, get a taste. But at the end of the day, I don't know if we'll be able to get over that hump of the Dallas might be our roadblock, and same thing. Remember late 90s, early 2000s, and we finally got over it, beat Dallas, and then you get there and, you know, and then 2006 happens out of nowhere. I think it's going to be like that. And that's how Edmonton will get to. It's not going to be this year, so Oilers fans.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think there's any pressure on Connor. No pressure, as normal. I mean, what else does he have to prove? Yeah. He's going to go out there and probably get 20, 30 points.
He has to prove he can win a goddamn Stanley Cup, because that's what generational players do.
But that's his own personal pressure.
And you don't think that's an outside pressure?
Well, that's
no, I don't. I don't think a kid like Connor, guys like Connor, McKinnon, Crosby, like the elite, true elite athletes of their sport. I don't think they pay attention to the outside noise. I don't think they worry about. I don't think they worry about that shit. I think they legit.
But I wouldn't disagree with that.
They probably put more pressure on themselves.
Like, think about what Austin Matthews goes through. Mitch Marner, for that matter, he's a hometown kid.
But Mitch Marner puts more pressure on himself if you listen to them.
Correct, and like, they all do. You have to. If you're an elite athlete, you're putting pressure on yourself.
You are, for sure. My thing is, I've been saying,
I don't think they're worrying about the media.
Yeah,
and what the
no,
fans
they're definitely not worrying about media.
Definitely Mitch Marner is. I'll say that. You watch any of his press conferences, it's always him against the world, and that's him though. Like, he's a guy that, like, there are guys that legit listen and read everything that is clipped and said about them. That's just how.
If I was Mitch Marner, I'd be worried about his dad more than the media.
Yeah, probably right on that. So, but I look at it like, you know, Jeff O'Neill said on the pod during this segment and this question, he goes, players like this win. So yes, there's pressure because players like this at the end of the day win. So Mike Johnson pretty much was almost quote for quote, in a way, weird saying it. MJ was almost saying the same thing you were saying, Vandy, though. You know, there's probably like no individual pressure, if that's kind of what you're kind of saying. Like,
yeah,
maybe you might not, maybe you might, but you know, it was interesting. It was an interesting part of the segment. Like I you know, you'll see it on SportsCenter tonight. They usually replay those throughout SportsCenter. It's just obviously it was on their playoff preview show, but yeah, and they have a lot of, like, Darren Dreger and Jeff O'Neill have the Oilers winning the Stanley Cup. You know, Jamie McLennan has the New York Rangers winning it, and I think MJ has Carolina Hurricanes, but Dreger and Jeff O'Neill had the Edmonton Oilers winning the Stanley Cup.
Hey,
let's go.
Golf clap to Gary Bettman, because he's made this a league into what it is now, and the fucking parody.
I think it's been the best National Hockey League has ever had. You know, and I think guys like Pat Mafficky and those kind of
100%
putting an extra.
But listen, you got Kucherov, 143 fucking points.
First winger to get 100 assists.
Right.
Like, you know,
and
this this is another thing.
McDavid, like the league is in such a good place.
And what I'll say this about McDavid, he's the only player in the National Hockey League that last year can go 64 goals and then the following year have 100 assists. He's the only player in the NHL. The only player. There's no one else
right?
to do it.
What do you want me to do?
100%. So
you want me to work on passing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll work on passing.
Obviously, it's unreal that what he can do and what he has done in his.
And even Matthews, like I'm still fucking miffed at fucking Keefe for not fucking playing because I picked Matthews to get 70.
Yeah,
well, it was
guys
one
actually
goal.
looked at the 6-4 goal that night against Tampa. Tavares took a lot of heat, so. Because he got the 6-4 goal and he took a slap shot.
So he should.
when he should have just put it to Matthews' tape and just got him to score it, but he just ripped.
Agreed.
So he was taking.
And it would have won me $100.
Yeah, he was taking some heat for that.
But anyway.
Yeah, at the end of the day, obviously Toronto's success is going to be based on their forecourt. I don't really worry about Morgan Riley. Morgan Riley, your twin brother, Vandy. He performs in the playoffs. He's
got a strong jaw.
Yeah, he performs in the playoffs. He does a really good job, so I'm not too worried about there. The goaltending is a question mark. At the end of the day, the goaltending might be a question mark in Boston. There's probably not a lot.
It ain't a question in Boston.
Jesus.
In the way they were in the playoffs, though, right? Like,
no,
I'm not saying
the last thing their problem is the goaltending.
Yeah, they have 1A, 1B.
They do have. I'm not saying bad about them. I'm just saying like that was a part of that what ruined them in the playoffs last year. Like you started as goaltender 6 games in a row, and then you started your backup in Game 7, the most critical game of the series. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. I don't know. Like, that's.
I don't know. I've said it a million times on this podcast. Why do teams have to go with so many fucking kids playing hockey, and why do you have to go with a starter? Why can't you go 1A, 1B? And Boston's proving it. And why deviate from that?
I'll be very fascinated.
See what they do. It'll be interesting to watch.
If they go back and forth in the playoffs, that'd
be unbelievable.
Very interesting.
So. And they probably should, right? The way it's
and here's like when Rupp and I were coaching.
The travel will be great out east. You look at the travel at all those teams.
Yeah.
There's no travel hardly any at all.
And they're both good.
No.
Yes.
Play them.
Yeah, go ahead. You were going to say.
No, nothing. I said when Rupp and I were coaching, we won a city championship where our starter, you have your starter, went in first game, let in 3 goals, and we're like, fuck. And as a head coach, I'm like, shit, I got to pull him. And we put our backup quotations, starter quotations, and the starter the backup stood on his head. We ended up winning the game in a shootout, ended up winning cities. And like, fuck. I'm like, why do you have to go starter, backup, starter, back? Why can't you rotate? Why can't I get it, money and all that shit. Why can't you go 41-41? Yeah. Like, there's so many good goalies out there, right? There's only 2 positions on a team.
Correct.
Why can't you go? And injuries and stuff, you want to have but like 41-41, why do you need, and I get it, mindset, elite athlete, all that other bullshit, but like go 41-41 and then rotate all the way through.
Yeah.
Give teams different looks. Anyway, what do I know? I'm in the basement of my wife's house.
Exactly. Eh? There you go. All right, let's finish up on that. Anything else you guys want to add before we sign out?
No.
Okay. All right. So, okay, perfect. Rhodes? Bros froze?
No, the St. Albert internet kicked out.
Rhodes out right at the right time. So, all right. Okay, let's finish up on that.
Fuck you.
Everyone, enjoy the playoffs. We'll chat very soon. Dandy, you take care, eh?
You too, pal. I love you.
Love it too. Bye.
Bye.